And secondly, it puts things into perspective. I bet if we went out into downtown Omaha, we gathered up 100 people, we're going to ask them one question. I bet all 100 people are going to tell us the same thing. We're going to ask them this. We're going to ask them, what is the opposite of success? I bet all 100 people are going to tell us that the opposite of success is failure. I'm not sure that's right. I bet you know a bunch of really successful people who have failed a ton. They just didn't stay there. I don't think the opposite of success is failure. I think the opposite of success is quitting, sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, watching Bachelorette. Failure is an integral part of the success process. I got a perfect example. I was, several years ago, I was probably 7, 8 years ago, I was working in Las Vegas. I was a showgirl. Kidding, I was a stripper. The point is this. No, I happened to be there speaking to a company at the same time that the Consumer Electronics Show was going on. I don't know if you've ever been to this, heard about this. It's where they unveil all the new electronic gadgets for the next year. And if you're a gadget guy, gadget girl, this is the trip of a lifetime. If you're a gadget guy, there are two things in your life you're going to remember: your honeymoon and the Consumer Electronics Show. Yeah, and not necessarily in that order. Yeah. And that was the year that Apple announced that they were coming out with the iPhone. Now, how many people in the room, just out of curiosity, how many people in the room have an iPhone? Lots of hands. This was a game changer. This changed phones. We don't have phones anymore. We have little computers we hold up to our heads. And they're on their 6th generation of this. They had the 1, the 2, the 3, the 3S, the 4, the 4S, the 5, the 5S. By the way, in case you're curious, the S stands for the word you shout when you realize your phone is now obsolete. They came out with the 6 and the 6 Plus. That's a bigger iPhone. And I ordered mine online. I wish I'd gone into the store, because when they said it was bigger, boy, they weren't kidding. This thing. Hello? This is the iPad. How many people in the room have an iPad? They've never sold less than 1 million of these in a month. Unbelievable. They're on their 3rd generation of this. They came out with the iPad Mini, which I guess makes that the iPad Mickey. Yeah. Worst joke in the show. Thanks for applauding. That's good. This came on the heels of the iPod. How many people in the room had an iPod? I didn't know I owned 4,000 songs until I got an iPod. The best figure I can get, and this is 4 years old, is that Apple, just on the iPod alone, has made $3 billion, with a $1 billion net profit, just on the iPod. Now, this is the really important question. Before the iPod, the iPad, and the iPhone, does anybody remember what Apple's big consumer product release was? That would be the Newton. Yeah, how many people in the room have a Newton? Nobody has a Newton. I guarantee that President Apple doesn't have a Newton. Only an idiot. Millions of dollars research and development, millions of dollars production, promotion, shipping. They sold 4 of these. I have the other 3 at home. Is this a failed product? Oh, yes. Is Apple a failed company? No, because they understood one simple fact, and that is, in order to get to the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone, occasionally you're going to step in a whole pile of Newtons. Which brings us to you guys. I just like saying that. It's been a world of Newtons out there for a lot of industries, a lot of the groups I speak to, a lot of associations, and I know this has been challenging times for you, but I got to tell you this. I don't think you can have challenging times. I don't think you can have an adversity without there being opportunity right there with it. I think it's how we look at it. You know, I was talking with Mike, and he said, you know, the total numbers of bowling are down. And you think, oh, that's a bummer, until you reframe it. I call it finding the upside of down. If you say, well, numbers are down, guess what? That means there's a tremendous pool of people out there just waiting to experience the fun and the friendship of bowling. Just flip it. I heard somebody say one time, you know, that we're looking at a global economic meltdown. I don't know what you do with that. I'm not that smart. But if you say, okay, well, what that means is there's millions and millions of people out there who are hurting. Well, when you get down to the level of people, it becomes more actionable because people are just people. People are just, you don't believe me. The Stanford Business School did a research study. They found that 99.7% of all people, just people. That's what they found. Yeah. The other 0.3, lawyers. My point is this. People are just people, and we have some things in common. I'm going to talk about two things that we have in common that I think may be helpful to you. One of the things is, while we're very, very much individuals, we also have purpose. We want purpose. We want something bigger in our lives. And I got to tell you a story about my dad. My dad was raised in the Depression, had 3 older brothers. So every piece of clothing he owned had been worn out 3 times before he got it. His first new suit he got at age 18, and on the front of it said U.S. Army. That's right. He had to go fight the Nazis to get a new outfit. Yeah. And when he grew up and he got a career, he wore a suit to work every day. He had like 30 or 40 suits and all these clothes. And my dad passed away about 20 years ago. And all those clothes, I couldn't tell you what happened to any of them. I assumed they were given away or something. But there was one piece of clothing that I wanted of his that he had not worn for 30 years. And I have kept it for 20 years because it had meaning to him and it had meaning to me. That was my dad's bowling shirt. This was important to him, and it became important to me. And I learned a couple things. Number one, this is 50 years old. What do they make stuff out of 50 years? This is fantastic. And the other thing I figured out, because I always viewed my dad as this huge, bulky guy. My dad was a petite. I could totally take him right now. But it symbolized two things that I was talking about. We want to be individuals, and we want to be part of a team. That is what you offer people. That is the one thing. As you get older, we all know this, it becomes harder and harder to find a team. That's the opportunity you talk to people. The other thing that's in common with people is we're change resistant. So you have to overcome initial change when you're getting somebody to try something new. When somebody's looking at a Thursday night league, I don't know, I could be there every Thursday night. And then after a couple of weeks, they're like, it's almost Thursday. And it's going to cause change on your part. We've got this gigantic pool of people, and we're going to have to learn to approach them a little bit differently. So it's going to require change on your part. The good news is it can happen in an instant. All change is instant. It happens right here in an instant. My favorite example of instant change, who knows who Susan Boyle is? A lot of you who don't know the name know who she is. She was a woman that was on that British version of American Idol, basically. Got out there and sang. 47 years old, never been married, never been kissed. 47. Never been kissed. Do you realize what an achievement that is? I mean, I don't want to brag, but I've been kissed. Like 3 times. Couple lawsuits. My point is this. Here's a woman who went from completely unknown, people in her own home didn't know who she was, to being on the cover of every magazine, television show. She had 2 platinum-selling albums. She generated over 100 million hits on the internet within 2 weeks. When something like that happens, I'm fascinated. And I looked at that. I said, how does that occur? And here are the 2 things that I drew from that story. I think they can help us. Number 1, I think we respected her courage. Can you imagine what it was like for her to stand there in the wings waiting to walk onto that stage? Because understand, she knows what the reaction is going to be. She knows everybody's going to look at her and their eyes are going to roll. They're going to nudge each other. Oh, yeah, lady, come on out. Come on out for your humiliation. She knew that. And in spite of that fact, she walked those 25, 30 lonely steps to the middle of that stage, looked into that spotlight, and smiled. How brave is that? I got to tell you, I've been doing what I do for almost 30 years. I don't know that I could do that. I think we respect her courage. And secondly, I think we identify with her. I know it's true for me. I don't think you'd be sitting in this room if it weren't true for you. We all believe in our hearts that we have skills, talents, gifts, and abilities we have never fully released to the world. And we know if we ever did it, it would change our lives and it would change the lives of the people around us. Don't you know that? She said the reason why she walked out there is because she made a promise to her mom. And if it's that simple, and I believe it is, my prayer for you is before you leave here, you make a promise to the most important person sitting in this room. You make a promise to yourself. But you're not going to wait another year, not another month, not another week before you truly, truly share your gifts, talents, and abilities with the world. And what's the worst that could happen? You could fail? Come on. Failure's overrated. I'm going to tell you one last story and we'll get out of here. My favorite example of a man who understands the relationship between success and failure better than anyone in American history. That's Thomas Edison. Failed 1,000 times inventing the light bulb, but did he see it that way? No. No, in his diary he wrote, I've not failed 1,000 times, I've successfully discovered 1,000 things that do not work. Yeah, we think that's what he was right. He was right in the dark. It was just... Folks, thank you so much. I'll enjoy seeing you tomorrow. Thank you.